You asked for it, then you got it. Welcome into a brand new PFL only episode of Combat Coach. And look who's back. I kicked Cody to the curb. Not really. He's producing. Always does an amazing job. But let's get right into it. PFL 6 is Friday night live from the Ocean Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we haven't done one of these before. But Ian Parker, you've been killing it on ESPN. You've been killing it on ESPN too. So we thought the people needed a full episode of Combat Coach just for the organization that we are making so popular. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I like how you threw that last part in because I completely agree. I completely agree with it. We are the show. No, I'm kidding. But listen, this episode was overdue. We promised the people we'd do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. 4 different divisions because of fights that have been moved. 4 different divisions are going to be represented on Friday night. Women's, the lightweights, the featherweights, and the heavyweights. So we have 12 fights, 4 hours on ESPN+. 4 fights on ESPN2. We will be here for it every single step of the way. So let's jump right in. We're going to break down every single fight on the card, and we do it all in 20 minutes or less. All right, first one, heavyweight, Clitson Abreu, minus 190. Jamel Jones coming back at plus 145 as the underdog. What do you like?
Abreu, a UFC vet. He's got good striking. However, his chin is a little suspect lately. He's kind of thrown away all of his skills. He likes to brawl. Against a guy in Jamel Jones, got a ton of power and speed. I'm going to do what we've been doing the last 2 weeks. I'm going to start off this card with an underdog, Jamel Jones.
And what you've been doing, if people watch the show, 2 weeks in a row, Chris Wade and Sadabu C were the underdog picks on our DraftKings pre-show that Ian Parker successfully picked. And this week, this fight, the first one again, he's picking an underdog. I like it. All right, next one. Let's go to the women. Caitlin Young, a minus 225 favorite over Mariana Moraes. Plus 165 is the underdog coming back. What do you like?
Excuse me. I like Caitlin Young here. I think experience is going to play a big role in this. I think we saw in her last fight against Dandois, she was very composed, knew where to stay out of danger, was able to use that jab, and she's going to be the more technical striker here. I think she gets it done. All
right, very good. Next fight on the card. I love this name. Taylor Guardado, minus 148. Laura Sanchez, plus 115. The one thing I love, there's a lot of things I love about the PFL, but the fact that the women are featured so prominently, I really like that. Another prominent matchup here. What do you like?
Well, look, Laura Sanchez had a tough fight against Jenna Fabian the last outing. You know, kickboxer versus kickboxer with a little bit more experience. In this one, she's getting thrown into another one with someone, Taylor Guardado, who's a grappler, really good cardio. If she puts Sanchez on her back, she'll be able to control it. I think it's where the fight goes, so I'm going to go with Guardado here.
All right, very good. Guardado, minus 148. For those of you who are new, kind of minus 200 is our baseline. If it's above 200, we think those are high odds. If it's below 200, we think that's something that we can play with straight. But also, we will have different parlays, Parker's parlays, that he will give out on the DraftKings show on Friday night. So tune in, for that on ESPN+. All right, next fight on the card. Now, this guy had a very weird scenario happen to him in his last fight. Renan Ferreira is a minus 455 favorite over Carl S. I don't even want to butcher his last name. Plus 320. Kind of tell everybody what happened to Ferreira the last time out and where you see this particular fight going.
Sure. So Ferreira clearly tapped to Verdum. The ref didn't see it. Verdum let go, and then he rolled over, and he got the TKO finish over Verdum. You know, listen, this is a guy who's a very tough, big striker who also has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's fighting a guy named Carl S., who is a powerhouse Hawaiian, Polynesian guy. These guys are always very tough. However, Carl in his last 3 fights, 0-3, all by decision. One of them being to Valdim Vidovsky, who's fighting for the heavyweight belt on Friday night for Bellator. I don't think Carl gets finished here. I think Hannon's going to actually win this by decision. So if you want to shrink it down to a prop, you're getting, I think, plus 300 odds to take Ferreira by decision. If you want to take it a step further, Ferreira by submission, plus 600. You're talking about a black belt who's fighting a striker on short notice.
All right, decision and or submission for Ferreira there. Okay, moving on. Gina Fabian, minus 278 is the favorite. Julija Pajic, sure I butchered that, plus 210. I tell you what, tennis and MMA have the hardest names, period, to say. Regardless, what do you like in this fight?
I love Jenna Fabian in this fight. Experienced, stronger athlete, kickboxer, fighting someone who's 2-1. Pajic's first loss was the last one to Pacheco, where she went night-night real quick. I think Fabian, as long as she keeps this fight standing, which she will be able to, will also probably get a finish, but will definitely get the win. I like Fabian in this one.
Okay, 3 more fights on the ESPN Plus card to go. Let's go heavyweight. Elijah minus 400. Chandler Cole plus 285. What do you like?
I like Elijah here. We did see him get knocked out by Kapaloza in that last fight. That was really rock'em sock'em robots. That's not something we usually see out of Elijah. Usually he's more composed. Usually he's the more dominant fighter. And this one will be his bounce back. Can't touch minus 400, but you can parlay him with some other favorites. So that's a direction I would go with him.
All right, we are halfway through the card. 6 down, 6 to go. See how fast we do it? We don't waste your time at home. We just get it done. You don't need fluff. You just need meat. You need substance. So let's go. Here we go. Next fight on the card. 2 more on the ESPN Plus side. Larissa Pacheco, minus 625. Are you serious right now? Olena Kolesnik, plus 425 is the underdog coming back. How do you see this one?
Pacheco's going to smoke her. Not only did Olena miss weight, this is just a bad matchup everywhere for her. We saw her dominated by Granado on the ground. Pacheco is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Also, we saw her striking on display in her last fight. This is a woman who went 2 fights with Kayla Harrison and lost by decision. If you go 3 rounds with Kayla Harrison, you don't get finished. You beat everybody else. Minus 625 is rough. I don't think this fight goes the distance, so I like that play. Or if you want to throw her in a parlay because it's probably a lock, that's okay as well.
Okay, parlay or not to go the distance. Okay, very good. Okay, the last fight on the ESPN Plus card is in the heavyweight division. Bruno Capoloza taking on Mohamed Darius. Now, Capoloza is a favorite minus 265. Darius comes back at plus 200. How do you see this one?
Look, Darius got destroyed in his last fight, and we kind of saw the hesitancy. He's throwing wild overhand rights if he can't get the wrestling, and we saw what Kapaloza is made of. The dude will take one to give one. He took Dalia's hardest shot and then put him to sleep. I see this being the same situation here. I like Kapaloza here.
All right, and don't forget on the DraftKings pre-fight show that we have on ESPN Plus, I believe it's at 5:30 or 5:30 Eastern on Friday. We have parlays that Ian throws in because there's a lot of these fights. As you see, the numbers are very, very high. And you can't play those. We bring them down, put them in a parlay. It brings the number down to something that we can work with. So there's a lot of these guys that you'll see in parlays on Friday night. Now, let's move to the ESPN 2 card. 4 fights on this card. First one is a guy I know you like a lot. Dennis Goldsloff, minus 305 is the favorite. Brandon Sales, plus 225, coming back. What do you like?
Look, Sales is a big boy cutting down to 265. You don't hear that very often unless it was Brock Lesnar. And you got a guy in Sales also who kind of showed the world what he's made of. Really, I mean, finishing Muhammad Usman that last fight was impressive. But in my opinion, Goldsloff's the guy that's going to win the league, the playoffs, championship. I think he's better everywhere. Usman's also not the most experienced fighter. Goldsloff very much is and is fantastic everywhere. Goldsloff wins this fight.
Yeah, Sales really kind of captured the heart of everybody that night that he won. He's an active military, basically coming out of training to basically, fight in the PFL. It was like, wow, this guy certainly can't get it done against a brother of a UFC champion. And he did.
He did.
And it was pretty cool to watch, even though we were on the other side of that play. All right. Now, Lance.
Throw that in there.
Well, I had to. I mean, you've been winning 85% or whatever it is. You're allowed to point out your losses. All right, Lance Palmer is a former champion. He's won the $1 million prize before, but his back is against the wall. He's an underdog here, plus 112 against Mavlev Habulayev. We worked on that for 2 days. We finally got it right. Habulayev is a minus 139 favorite, but this is as close to a pick'em in MMA odds as you could possibly get without being a pick'em. What do you like?
I like Habulayev. I do like him in this fight. Listen, this is a guy that was supposed to go to the finals, but he got injured in the semis a couple years ago. I think Palmer kind of was exposed in his fight against Bubba Jenkins. If he can't out-wrestle you and he can't outwork you, he loses. And Habulayev is going to be the better striker. His takedown defense is fantastic, and we saw an endless gas tank. This is going to be a lot of trouble for Lance Palmer. This was the worst possible matchup to draw and a bounce back to get back into the playoffs. He needs a finish to get in. I don't even think he wins. I like Habulayev here.
For those of you who are not familiar with how the PFL works, when Ian says, I need to finish to move on, this is a regular season format. This is playoffs. There's $1 million first prize for 6 different fighters in the 6 different weight classes, but you've got to have these bonus points. A first round finish gets you 6 extra bonus points. A second round, and it goes on from there. So you need to have those bonus points in order to move on. The top 4 from each division move on. All right, let's go to our co-main event of the evening. Big-time name, did not have a big-time performance his first time out. I'm talking about Anthony Pettis. He was supposed to fight not tonight, but he got sick. Something happened. They pushed it back to tonight. So he is a minus 200 favorite against Rush Monfillo. Now, plus 150 is the number for the underdog. It really feels like, Ian, to me, this is the last chance for Anthony Pettis to be a viable name fighter for any organization. How do you see this one playing out?
I like the underdog here, Coach. I really do. He was very scrappy in his last fight that he edged out, and he has the type of style that's always given Anthony Pettis problems. When you pressure Anthony Pettis, he can't get off those fancy wheel kicks. Once you don't let Pettis get going, he just doesn't ever get going. And I don't know if he's had enough time to really recover from that Clay Collard fight. I just saw him on the scale. He didn't look good. The left side of his face looked completely swollen, and he just had a baby. When you have a baby, you don't sleep, all right? Yep. And I don't think he's got much sleep on top of that. We saw what happened with Tyler Diamond against Brandon Loughnane. Diamond did not, I think one of the problems that he didn't have enough time to recover. Took a lot of punches, got dropped twice. Pettis took a beating. This is a very rough sport that literally is it takes your soul. And I think that Monfillo is a tough guy. He trains with Natan Schultz. He's scrappy. He looks like he's in fantastic shape. I like plus 150 or 155 here. I hate to do it. I'm a big Anthony Pettis fan. I don't see the same Anthony Pettis I did in the UFC. And if your head's not there, you're not winning. I like the underdog.
And to your point, if he was fighting in Bellator or UFC and he took such a beating, he would be allowed to take an extra month, maybe even 2 months to recover. He doesn't have that option here. You've got to fight in the 3-week process because there is playoffs coming up in August down there in South Florida. So he has to fight this week. This is it. If he doesn't fight this week, then he's out. So you bring up a great point there. Now, the main event is one of the most dominant females that this sport has ever seen. She's dominant in the PFL, and there's a reason why she stays here. She's almost guaranteed herself $1 million every single year, which women in other organizations, quite frankly, just don't make. But the odds are enormous. It started at plus 2,000. The last time she fought, you successfully predicted that she would win by knockout, which brought the odds all the way down to, I think, minus 125. Plus 125. So this time around, it moved all the way up to minus 33.35. Almost unheard of in competitive big-time martial arts. Cindy Dandois, plus 1,100 coming back on the other side. How do you make this something that we can play?
Well, if I'm Mark Cuban or Floyd Mayweather, I have no problem laying the minus 3,335 odds. I really wouldn't. I'd put everything I own on Kayla Harrison. We're going to shrink it down. We're going to go back to that prop well. TKO or KO, I think it's at minus 115 this time around. I love that play. Kayla to win in round 1 at minus 190. I love that play. So you got 2 plays there if you're so strongly feeling that Kayla is going to do it. And the reason why I think it's going to be a TKO again, in that last fight, Maurice's neck was just there. She could have choked her out. She wants to make a statement. And Dandois is good in her own right in judo. She's obviously not the best striker, and she is good on the ground. I think Kayla just wants to continue to dominate. And to get a quick submission sometimes it's just like, but she really showed her ferocity with those punches, and just kept raining them down. And this will be probably the first time in a long time or ever that she's the better striker standing up. And I think she's going to come out throwing bombs. So I like Kayla to get this done regardless by TKO or KO at that prop.
Let me ask you this, because I've been thinking about this a lot since Kayla Harrison fought and Clarissa Shields fought and won her MMA debut. Kayla Harrison made it very clear that she does not like the fact that fighters like Clarissa Shields are coming over to MMA and think that they can step in at the highest level. Do you think on some level, because of wanting to show Clarissa Shields that she can bang too, that's why she wants to win by TKO and KO, just to prove that she can do it all?
I think Kayla Harrison knows that she signed a contract. She's in the PFL, and people are going to question the level of competition being thrown at her compared to some other organizations. She mentioned that she begged them to sign Cyborg. They couldn't do it. So what choice does Kayla have to be absolutely dominant? If Clarissa's going to take a little shine, Kayla said it herself. This is the Kayla Harrison show. I'm the face. This is my place, and I'm going to do it. I wasn't even trying to rhyme or pull a John Cena there. I really mean that. This is just Kayla Harrison showing you, I'm going to make the best of this situation, and that means complete and total domination. And if that takes Clarissa Shields, in my opinion, what she did was she showed perseverance. She fought through adversity. I find it odd that both her and Kayla Harrison fought the same person in their PFL debut. Poor Brittany Elkins. But look, Kayla's the real deal. I think she competes at the top of the world. Doesn't matter what organization she is. And when she dominates again, everyone's going to be talking about her again.
I would love it if it probably won't happen, but I would love it if somehow the MMA gods could open up and say, you know what, Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes, how about we get it on? How about
I'd rather see Kayla Harrison versus Jake Paul at this point. Let's go. That's a more realistic situation than Amanda Nunes, as sad as that sounds.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. All right, quickly, let's run through our recap, and then we'll get you out of here. And you can take all these tickets, you know where. Here we go. We're going to start at the bottom, just rip through. This is what Ian Parker loves, and don't forget his best bets. His best bets will be on the DraftKings pre-fight show. They're not here on Combat Coach, so don't take these as his best bets. We're just breaking down every single fight. Need to be very, very clear on that. All right, Jamel Jones in the first fight, Caitlin Young, Taylor Gardado, Renan Ferreira, Gina Fabian, Delija in the first 6, then Pacheco, Capoloza, Goltsov, Habulaev, Manfio in the co-main event over Anthony Pettis, and then Kayla Harrison by TKO, KO, or the DQ is in there for some reason as well. That'll bring it down to -115 over Cindy Dandois. Now, also in your feed currently, we did a very special early edge that has best bets from PFL, Bellator, UFC. That's also at our Sportsline YouTube page as well. So if you want to get all 3 of those together, you can go watch that episode also. That's going to do it for us. We grind, and we grind for all of you at home. For Ian Parker and the entire Duck Army, Cody Mara, our incredible producer behind the ones and the twos, I'm the coach. Remember, we'll see you ESPN Plus on Friday afternoon for the DraftKings pre-fight show. Then we'll be there all night long, breaking down all the best bets throughout the night on ESPN Plus and ESPN2. For now, remember, this is the only place, Combat Coach, that breaks down every single organization that is out there in MMA today with the very best capper in the world today, Ian Parker. All right, good luck, and we'll see you all weekend in the world of the MMA. See ya.